Hello, my friends, and happy Thursday. So it's fall in Wisconsin and elsewhere, and we are all getting ready for Halloween. So we have been making spiders. We've been making spider pendants and just like fun little spiders just to sit around on our desk or wherever. And today we are continuing with our spiral theme. And we are making not one, but two projects. We're making earrings and we're also making pins. So while I have made spider earrings before, pins are a first for me and possibly for you. And it is very, very simple. Earrings are simple as well, and I did put a kind of a fun little twist on two of the pair of earrings that I'm showing you today. So, shall we get started? So last week we made lots of spiders. We made kind of medium-sized spiders, we made huge spiders, and today we're making dainty spiders for earrings. So this is how dainty our earrings are going to be. A few years ago, or maybe, I don't remember when, maybe last year, I made a pair of spider earrings, and I think they were a little bit too big. So I sized them down to the size that would probably be wearable for most people, even for me, and I am a light earring wearer. And so I have to tell you, the good news is that all three spider earrings are 3 grams or less, which in my book, that's a really wearable weight. I know we don't normally weigh our earrings, but I'm pretty sensitive to weight on my ears, so I always prefer 3 grams or less. So if I can wear these, most likely so can anyone else.
Jolene says hello.
Hi, Jolene.
Fonda says good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm so excited for more spiders.
Woohoo! Yay, Fonda! Thank you so much for being excited, and happy Thursday. So, I get really excited this time of the year. Spiders are not something we wear most of the year, I guess. And unless you do, and if you do, let me know. What occasions do you wear them for? Is it, I don't know, is it weddings, birthdays, bar mitzvahs? I guess, as long as they are around Halloween time, it's all good, right? So anyway, let me give you my little tour of spiders. So we have our first pair, which actually is just going to be a show and tell, not necessarily a demo, but these are Gothic spiders, and they're probably even more diminutive than the other 2 pair. So these are the Gothic spider earrings. Then I have 2 colorways for the Gothic raspberry. For the sugar skull. That was actually the color name for the sugar skull earrings. So I hope you can see the sugar skulls right here. And so this is Gothic raspberry, and I also have the very elegant platinum silver, and this is the platinum silver in
Platinum gold.
Platinum gold, that's right. They're all precious metals.
Yay.
So these are the platinum gold, and there's still the sugar skull spiders. And then, but wait, there's more. So these guys, I know they look a lot like what we made last week, sort of, but they are not like the others. So these are the pins. So I'm going to show you how to make a very, very simple built-in pin so that these are wearable. In fact, while we are saying hello, let's pin this onto the burlap that is right here in front of me.
Ellie says, hi, those cute earrings would be cute as a necklace pendant.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Yes, they can definitely be a pendant. They could even be a tiny little pin. So did you guys see, are you seeing this? So I just pinned this to my burlap here. Let me show you. Now my spider is permanently connected to the burlap. Well, maybe not so much permanently. So let's unpin him. And now we'll put him back with his friends or her friends. And so the pins are actually a duo. They come in the same kit. So if you get the pins, you make 2 pins. And if you get the earrings, each pair of earrings is its own kit.
Althea says, hi, everyone. Cute project.
Hi, Althea. Thank you so much.
Lori says, hello, Irina, Tony, and everyone.
Hi, Lori, and thanks for joining us. Okay, ladies, so what do you think? Should we get started?
Patricia says, good evening, everyone.
Hi, Patricia. So I think we are ready, right? Are we ready? I think my spiders are saying, yes, let's get started. Okay. See, they even agree with one another. All right, and that was my spider theater. And so I am going to start with the earrings, and we're going to move some of our little arachnid friends, and they're going to hang out right here in front of me. And I'm just going to keep this pair of the sugar skull earrings, the sugar skull spiders to be exact. And so this is going to be just a little bit different. So some of you may have joined me last Friday. Was it last Friday that I showed these beads? I believe so.
Yes.
Yes. So some of you bought these beads, and these are really cool. So in addition to having a hole all the way through, they also, so here is the regular hole that one would normally expect in a bead, but also there's a little bit of a channel around the bead. And so I kind of use that channel to my advantage in this particular pair of earrings. And you can see I put some little black beads. These are metal seed beads. So I do like using metal seed beads for purposes like this, because even if you kind of bunch them up a little bit, they are just not going to shatter. Okay, so first of all, when you get your kit, what you will find in the kit are actually 3 different types of wire. And so the shortest one is going to be 20 gauge. So just go ahead and cut it in half. And then you're going to also find 24 gauge. And again, just go ahead and cut it in half. So clearly we're making 2 earrings. So we're cutting every wire segment in half. And lastly, you're also going to find some 28 gauge wire. And again, cut it in half. I have already done so. So we're going to set aside the 24 gauge wire just for now. And in the meantime, we are going to be working just with the 20 gauge wire, which is, you know, pretty short. I don't remember, I think it's like 4 inches, something like that. And so we're going to start with that, and also the 28 gauge, so the thinnest and the heaviest. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to put our sugar skull on the 20 gauge wire. And then we're also going to string the 28 gauge wire through the, you know what, I need to straighten the end of the wire because it's curved and it doesn't want to go through. So I think it'll be much more cooperative now. And we're going to string it through about halfway. So this is about halfway. I think it's about 10 inches or so. And if you wanted to, you could make a loop at this point at the bottom of this, but I don't really like making the loop right now because I think it might get in the way a little bit. So either make a loop or wait till later to make a loop. So I'm going to start picking up the little black beads. So these are, as I mentioned, they are metal seed beads and they are quite tiny. They are 15 if you're familiar with the size 15 and I need about 12 of them. Okay, so this is 8, so we need a couple more. Well, not a couple, 4. And so I believe this is a total of 12, which is what we need to go around the side of the skull bead. And so while I'm holding on to the skull bead, I'm just going around. And here we go. I am putting the beads in the little channel and then immediately starting to wrap around the 20 gauge wire. So you can see how I have a little coil, and now that coil is helping me by holding the bead in place. So now I'm going to use the second, the remaining end of the wire, and I can already see that I'll need a few more of my little 15 seed beads. And so again, we need another 12 for the other side. And this is 6, so 6 more. So this is so simple, you guys. It is just such a simple technique and it goes so very quickly. And I think the result is super fun.
Kim K says, Happy Thursday.
Hi, Kim, and happy Thursday to you. Okay, ladies. So here we go. This is the remaining side, and I'm going to see if it's enough. And yes, it should be enough because I counted my beads. So now I'm going to take the end of my 28 gauge wire and just push it through the hole again. I may need to move the little coil, and there it is coming through. So I think I'll just pull it with my chain nose pliers, and it just kind of settles in right in that channel, and we'll just snug it up a little bit. So this is what it looks like. So now our sugar skull is framed with the 15 seed beads. So now we are going to move the skull. I just moved it down a tiny little bit. And now I'm going to continue coiling. So I have already done a little bit of coiling right here with one end of the wire. I don't actually need any more of this wire, so I am cutting the rest of it off, you have a pretty long wire length, only because it's just that much more convenient to work with. Because if you had just a couple of inches, it would be really difficult to hold on to it. But really, you're not going to need all this wire. Okay, and then with the remaining end, I'm going to do very much the same thing. I'm just going to coil right over, just like that. And then I'm going to trim the excess wire. So this is all we have left over of the 28 gauge wire, and now we don't need it anymore. So all I'm going to do at this point is just pinch in the very end of the wire, and this is about 3 millimeters of coiled wire. So whatever you do on one earring, just go ahead and do the same on the other earring. And if you want, you can work on both at the same time. And this way, if you just do a couple of like 1 or 2 steps on one, a couple of steps on the other, it's a lot easier to keep everything nice and symmetrical. So at this point, we're stringing the spider head, which happens to be a 6 millimeter faceted check fire polish bead. So you string that on, and we are going to make a loop. So just like any other loop, we are going to start it out by bending. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's back up just a tiny bit. Normally, I like to make this loop first, but I kind of forgot to make it first, so we'll make it second. It's not going to really change anything. The only reason you might want to make it first is so that you can just slide the bead right to the loop rather than trying to make the loop right next to the bead, if that makes any sense. But really, it's just so simple either way. So I don't need this to be a functional loop. I just need it to be a tiny little loop that stops the whole assembly from sliding. And so I only left about 6 millimeters for this little tiny loop. And so I'm using my chain nose pliers. You know what? I might even make it a little smaller yet. So maybe something like 5 to 6 millimeters. And this is a pretty small loop. And now I'm just going to give it a pinch with my chain nose pliers to close it. And I want to show you the size of this loop. So pretty tiny. And that's because, you know, we're not really connecting anything to this loop, unless you want to, in which case you can always make it a little bit larger. And then my next loop is going to be perpendicular to this one. So I think I'm going to make the loop first, and then I'm going to align them so that they're perpendicular. So this is going to be a larger loop. You can make it anywhere between 8 and 10 millimeters, but this is our connector loop, our ear wire. Here, let me show you. This is the loop we're making right now, so our ear wire is going to connect to that. So you want it a little larger than the first loop, and I'm just using my round nose pliers to make it a loop. It's not a wrap loop, it's just a standard simple loop. So we're going to want this loop to be aligned with the skull bead. So I might just use my chain nose pliers, hold on to my little tiny loop, and align the two so that they're perpendicular. And this is what it looks like. So now our spider needs legs. And so for legs, because this is a fairly diminutive spider, we are using 24 gauge wire. So this is my 24 gauge wire. And so remember, this is half of the total length of wire because I already pre-cut it. And so we're going to cut it into 4 equal lengths. And if they're not like totally equal, it's okay because there's a little extra. So don't stress, but cut it into 4 equal lengths. And so here I have my 4 pretty equal lengths. And so each of these is going to become 2 legs. So we're going to fold it once more, finding the center. Something like this. Just use your fingers. So that is the center of each set of legs. And we are going to now start wrapping the leg wires around this little coiled space between the 2 beads, between the head and the body. And if you watched me last week, this is very, very similar. So this is going to be a little bit redundant. And you probably already know how to do it. So I like to wrap a couple of times, and then maybe I will even give it a very gentle squeeze with my chain nose just to make sure it stays in place. And I'm going to do the same exact thing with all 4 legs. And this is going to take me a little while. So I'm thinking, let's share our favorite Halloween traditions while I'm doing this. I'll tell you what one of mine is. So I do really enjoy Halloween. And so does my whole family. And so, when the kids were younger, of course, trick or treat, that's really fun. But in Wisconsin, we have this lovely place. It's called, what is it called?
Old World, Wisconsin.
Old World. I say it like, I don't know. I'm obsessed with this place. Old World, Wisconsin. And they have this event called Legends and Lore. In fact, Allie, I was just telling you about that. So this event, Legends and Lore, it's like an old-timey Halloween. So in the meantime, I am wrapping all of the spider's dainty little legs, and I'm trying to distribute them so that they look really well spaced. And don't really stress about it because once we start putting beads on it, the spacing is not going to matter a whole lot. So really the most important thing is that you end up with 4 legs on one side and 4 legs on the other side. So anyway, so it's a really fun place, and so it's kind of this very old-fashioned Victorian event with storytelling and mini plays, and they will change plays from year to year. And it's not like scary, but it's just a little spooky. And they have some nice snacks and drinks, and it's just it's just such a fun thing. And we have been doing this every year for so many years now. It's held outside too, so so you get to walk around this beautiful Victorian village, and it's just a really great time.
Allie says, yes, you were. I saw it online, and it looks pretty cool.
Yay!
I've taken my students to Old World, Wisconsin during the school year for studying Wisconsin farms, but have never gone in the fall for that event.
Are you going? You know what? We're going tomorrow. Come with us. Anybody who is from Wisconsin, if you're watching, you're in Wisconsin, you want to go, join us. Just let us know. Message us, and we'll have a good time. This time it's just Tony and I going, and whoever wants to join us, you're welcome. So in the meantime, Um, I have my little spider's legs, ta-da, and now we're going to start beating his legs. Um, so the pattern we're going to use is going to be exactly the same, and we don't need these little black seed beads anymore. So here, I'll show you the spider right side up. And so I'm going to need a few of these are like antique brass color. Again, these are 15-0 seed beads. Because, you know, size-wise, that's really what works with this size spider. And then I'm also going to be using these little teeny tiny bugle beads. These are like the tiniest bugle beads you'll ever see. They're only 3 millimeters. And of course, we're going to need these little 2.5 millimeter pearls. And these are glass pearls, not actual pearls. And so those are his knuckles or her knuckles. And so this is the pattern. We're going to need 3 of the 15-0s. Then we have a bugle bead. Then we have another 15-0, a pearl, and another 15-0 right after the pearl. So I always frame the larger beads, you know, the ones that are meant to be kind of like their knuckles. I will always frame it with something smaller. It just gives it a nice little accent. It's fun. So do you guys like decorate a lot for Halloween? What do you do? I don't know, what else do we do? Sometimes we dress up, sometimes mostly we don't, but I might partially dress up. Again, you know, when the kids were younger, we dressed up a lot more. Okay, so this is it. This is a short little leg because we're trying to keep the earrings a little smaller. So normally for my big spiders, I give them very long legs and, you know, they're very graceful. But these have short little legs, and so now we're going to make a nice 90-degree angle. And we are going to start a spiral. So about 1/2 inch from the last bead or from the bend, I'm just holding with my round nose pliers. And at the very end of my round nose pliers, I'm making a little loop like that.
Allie says she'd love to go, but she's heading north to Stevens Point to visit family and pick pumpkins from the pumpkin farm on the weekend.
Oh, that sounds like such a good time. I love things like that. These wonderful fall activities like picking apples and pumpkins. Oh my gosh, I love it. And you know, it's so beautiful. Like literally today, I've been noticing how colors are changing, but as of today, I'm just saying it's officially fall. It's just so beautiful. All the reds and oranges, especially the maples, are so fantastic. Okay, so I just cut off everything that I'm not using, so all of my excess wire. And so all I have is this little loop that is not quite closed. I purposely did it this way so that I can make it even smaller with my chain nose pliers. So we're just going to give it a little smush like that. And this is how I make these very, very tiny loops with not a whole lot of space in the center. But Allie, next time, maybe next year, join us. You'll have such a good time. And really, this is an invitation to anyone who wants to join. Okay, so I am going to now use my flat nose pliers, and as you can see, I'm grabbing the very dainty little spiral, And so I'm just opening and closing my flat nose pliers. Anybody who is new to spirals, I have a couple of videos that are just on spirals, even with more details. So you can always watch those if you feel you need to improve your spirals. So in the meantime, this is what my spiral looks like. All right, so given that we are doing 2 projects, we're going to fast forward a little bit, okay? So let's fast forward and through the magic of Facebook Live. Look at this. All 4 legs are done. Wow, amazing. So, well, first of all, I'm just going to shape her little legs. She's very feminine, actually. She's kind of a pinky purple, hence Gothic raspberry. And this is what I do. I just take her top legs and bottom legs and I kind of wrap around her head and her body a little bit like that. And then I have the middle legs kind of like follow a little bit. And you can leave her like this, a little bit more flat, or you can give her a little dimension like this, just by, again, just with your hands bending the legs downward just a little bit. I don't want her super dimensional because, well, she's going to be suspended from our ear. And of course, to complete the earring, we're just going to connect her to the ear wire by opening the wire like this. Just open the loop, connect to the top loop, and close the loop right back. Okay, ladies, and that's it. That is how you make spider earrings, or this particular spider earring. So a little bit of show and tell. So the Gothic spider earrings are made in the very, very same way, except you don't have to bead around around the body. Okay, so you know what, I didn't grab this bead separately, but you know, if you look at the Etsy shop, you will see exactly what this bead looks like. It's pretty straightforward. So given that you don't need to bead, it's almost like it has its own little beads around the body, and that is why I really love this bead. I think for a smaller bead, it just makes a cute little spider body because of those little almost like beads on the outer rim.
Patricia says, so cute. I love your colors.
Oh, thank you so much, Patricia. So, so let me just make it super, super clear. You will still get the 20 gauge wire in the kit for the Gothic spiders. You will still get the 24 gauge wire, but you will not get the 28 gauge wire because there's nothing to string and you don't need to coil. So you connect the legs to the space. You still leave 3 millimeters between the body and the head, and you just connect the legs right to that little gap between the body and the legs. And in fact, we're going to be doing something very, very similar, but larger with the pins. Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you have any questions about the earrings?
Kim K says, cutest little spiders I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you so much, Kim. My spiders, thank you. Can you hear them? They're very quiet, but I heard them whisper, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little Halloween story. It's not really a Halloween story, but it's my Halloween story. So while we make the other spider, I will tell you the story, and maybe you can help me identify what I saw. But in the meantime, let's get started first. So, if you are going to make the spider pins, you are going to get 20 gauge wire in your kit as well as 22 gauge wire. So again, there are two spiders in the kit, much like the earrings, except they're not identical. So, so go ahead and cut both sets of wire in half, because one half is for one pin, the other is for the other. And so once you have cut the 20 gauge in half, that's all you need to do with that. And with 22 gauge, just go ahead and cut the 22 gauge into 4 equal parts, and I have already done that. So here are my 4 equal parts. And of course, I will bend the 4 wires just like I did when I made the earring. So again, we're just looking for the center, and each one of these is going to become a set of 2 legs. So we're going to set these aside for now.
Allie says the black and orange ones look like the orange beads are a little hair bow right above its head.
Aw, thank you. That's awesome. I love it. You know, I really do like the coloring of these. Actually, so that's, let me intrigue you. That's kind of what my story has to do with, the coloring. So before I do anything else, so this is my 20 gauge wire, and it is about 6 inches. So when you open your kit, you'll have 12 inches of wire, and it takes about 6 inches to make a pin. So we're going to bend the wire to a 90-degree angle, approximately 1 inch from the end, as you can see. And now we're going to string on the spider body and the spider head. And now we are going to make another 90-degree angle, and this time I'm just going to hold my flat nose pliers like this. Of course, if you have wider flat nose pliers, you might just bend with your flat nose pliers, but you can, here, let me just show you. You can have a little bit less space like this guy. You can have a little bit more space. I think I like a little bit less space. So maybe I'll just bend with my flat nose pliers. This will leave me with a little bit less space in between the 2 beads. So I have about 4 millimeters in between the 2 beads. But again, if you end up with a little less, a little more, it still works out really, really nicely. So the 2 bends at this point are holding the beads in place. And whereas normally when we make these spiders, whether it's like last week's spiders, which can be pendants or just kind of hang from your chandelier or anything you want, or the earrings, it's the loops that are holding the beads in place. But in this case, when we are making the pin, it is just the 90-degree angles that are holding the beads in place. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to start wrapping our 22 gauge wire around the 20 gauge wire right between the beads, that gap. So that's where we're wrapping into. And I like wrapping a couple of times. I don't know if you caught that on the last one or not. I like wrapping a couple of times. I feel like it gives us a little bit of stability. And if you feel like you're not getting tight enough coils, you can use your chain nose pliers, but very, very gently.
Clarice says, good evening, love this tutorial.
Hi, Clarice, and thank you so much. So now we're going to wrap all the other 4 legs, and this gives me maybe a minute or 2 to tell you a little story, and perhaps you will help me with my quest. So the other day I was gardening and I was cleaning up this clematis that is right on the side of our house. And oh my God, it took me forever. It was like huge. It's enormous. Anyway, when I cleared it, I get to the side of the house, and it was like literally 4 feet deep and about 8 feet tall. Huge. So I get to the side of the house, and there's something that looks like a little nest. It almost looked like a bird nest with like little sticks and things like that, and but it was smaller. So I was really perplexed. I didn't know what it was, and I kind of poked at it with my pruning shears. And don't worry, it's not scary. Nobody came out of it. So the sticks started falling away, and inside of the sticks, it looked like a cotton ball. Of course, I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is, so let's find out. So I kind of poked at the cotton ball looking thing. It was bigger than a cotton ball. And inside the cotton ball, there was this thing that looked like and you guys will understand, we measure things in millimeters, so it looked like a 14 millimeter bead that was kind of flat, like a lentil bead. You guys know what I'm talking about. So it looked like a lentil bead, and it was orange. And I was totally clueless. I had no idea what it may be. Except then I saw a spider, a good sized spider right next to it. And I did take a picture of the spider, and I tried to identify it, but I wasn't able to.
Fonda's wondering if it's a hummingbird nest.
No, definitely not a hummingbird nest, because, there was that weird orange thingy inside of it. So plus it was also too small to even be a hummingbird nest. But so it was some type of and I'm sorry, I know not everybody's into spiders. I'm not really into spiders, but I'm kind of into just wanting to know what things are. So so it was like this very bright orange, what I'm assuming to be a spider egg sac, but I couldn't have identified the spider. So if anybody knows, please let me know what that may be. I am just very curious. Does that sound like anything you guys have ever seen? So in the meantime, I am grabbing a few beads for the next spider leg, and I'll show you the pattern. So so obviously this spider is quite a bit larger than the last. So I'm working with 11O seed beads, and we'll pick up 11O seed beads, 3 of them. This is actually very, very much the same pattern as the little spider. Everything is just kind of sized up. And then I have an 11O, and the yellowish topaz looking beads are an 8O. And then we have this slender little teardrop. And so this is like in place of those very, very tiny bugle beads. And now we are, wait a minute. Yes, that is my second teardrop. I kind of lost track for a second. Oh, and I forgot the topaz 8O bead. So let's do that. And you know what? This is not exactly right. So I was so much into my spider tail that I forgot the bicone. So this is the pattern. So we have the 3 11O seed beads. Then we have the black teardrop, the jet teardrop, then another 11O, an 8O, a bicone, and we have another 8O, an 11O, And now we're going to string the remaining teardrop and another 11-0 and 8-0 and bicone.
Fonda says she just looked it up and it's showing the pirate spider has bright orange egg sac.
So do you think it could have been, does it say, because I saw a few different spiders that may be it, but I don't know if all of them live in Wisconsin. I kind of got lost in the whole thing. I was doing my research and then I just sort of gave it up.
Did it say R? Did it have an eye patch?
You know what?
Eye patches.
If it has an eye patch, it's got to be a spiral, a pirate spider. I'll have to look at my picture. We'll have to look closer. Okay, ladies. So this is the leg. This is the whole pattern of the spider leg. And just as before, we're going to make a 90-degree angle. And depending on how large you want these little spirals to be, start at 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch. I'm starting at 1/2 inch, but you could go a little larger on this one if you wanted to. So the same thing, I'm making a little loop, and then I am trimming all of the excess wire, and then we're going to use this little loop. Actually, I'm just, this is a larger piece, so I don't have to make that loop really, really tiny. If I want to pretty much keep it the way it is, I just made it a little bit more round, but I can just start like that right in the loop. And once I get to a 1.5 loops, and that was my chain nose pliers, by the way. So now that I'm at a 1.5 loops, I am just, I just switched to my flat nose pliers, and it goes so much faster, and this is what it looks like.
Althea says, love the magic of Facebook. Everything is different when the kids grow up.
Oh, I know, right? Isn't it? So we are going to make all of the legs exactly the same. And speaking of the magic of Facebook, so through the magic of Facebook, look at this. All the legs are done. And of course, this guy has a different body, because when you get this kit, you get a spiral and you get a sunburst. And now we need to make the pin. So the pin is actually the type of pin that has been made forever by various people around the world. It's a very simple fibula type of pin. And I'm going to use my medium bail making pliers and just do something like this, something that looks like a U-turn. So can you guys see here? Let me put my hand behind it. Can you see my U-turn?
Allie says pirate spiders sounds cool.
Yes, now I'll have to research exactly what pirate spider looks like. I bet you you're right, Fonda. I'm sure you probably found the right one, but I'll just have to verify it, I think, tonight.
Lori says, I'm scared to death of spiders. They love to be around our front door for some reason.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know not everybody, I'm pretty indifferent to spiders.
I won't be researching it either.
Yeah, Tony doesn't like spiders at all. But I'm like, I think they're interesting. Do I want a pet tarantula? No, definitely not. I think then Tony would divorce me too.
We have a big house,
That is true.
Separate rooms.
Yes, separate rooms. Okay.
I can't do that.
So no, I don't want one. So once you've made the U-turn, we are going to make a really tiny little loop. And this is not going to be a loop that is functional in any way. This is just our way to not have that exposed wire end. So once you have started the loop, just give it a little squeeze with your chain nose pliers. And so we have just made a hook. Or you can make it a little bit larger too, whatever. Here, oh, I made it pretty small on this one. And maybe a little bit larger. I made it a little bit larger on that. So however it turns out, honestly, it is totally fine. And again, using our medium bail making pliers, we are going to make a little ring. And please notice I'm going in the direction of how the loop opens, right? So I'm not going in this direction. The loop opens to my left. So therefore, I'm going to coil this to my left. So if you made it so that the loop opens to your right, by all means, make this little loop to your right. It really doesn't matter which way, to the left or to the right, as long as they're consistent. So it's either both to the left or both to the right. Okay, so I have just made a very, very simple pin mechanism. This is very similar to like a, what is it called? Like a safety pin. So we're just going to give this a little squeeze so they line up. And now we're going to actually pin it. And clearly we're going to be cutting some of the wire off. And I like to cut it at an angle like this. So this already gives us a start for a nice little pin. So let's go ahead and unpin it. The only reason I pinned it is so that I can really gauge the length. So I like to cut it maybe about a quarter to half an inch past the hook. And then we have a little, you'll get a little piece of sandpaper, and it is just so that you can sharpen the pin. So it's somewhat sharp already, but not in a good way. It's like very pokey right now. So what we're going to do is just take our time, and I'm not going to take all the time right now, but just to give you an idea. So we kind of sharpen it on all ends like this, and then also make sure that you don't forget to actually dull it just a little bit at the tip, because if you leave that tip really sharp, like the way that it was cut, it's not a well finished piece. So now it's not as pokey. It's still sharp enough to go through your clothing, but it's not super, super pokey. And so I'm done with the pin, and it may take you a little longer though. Just take your time, and then what we have left, well, actually we may have one more little step, but first let's make her beautiful by shaping her legs.
Clarice says, I always use the oval bead to do the body. I love the metal, very fancy.
Oh, thank you so much, Clarice. Okay, ladies, so it's the same strategy as far as shaping. So it's funny, I had never heard of wait, why can't I say that? Pirate, because I'm thinking spirals, that's why. But I have never heard of pirate spiders before, not until now that I saw that. And it's kind of funny, it was almost this kind of orange. Isn't that kind of crazy what nature makes? Okay, so once we have shaped her legs, we have one more step, which is optional. And by the way, it's really the same optional step for both the earrings and the pin. And I do like this step. So position the pin the way that you want to have it, which is so that it's away from the body. Although this makes it a little awkward, so actually we might just move it to the side for now. And then I am going to put just a little drop of super new glue on it, and then immediately move it to the center, because super new glue, you probably know already, it dries very, very quickly. So I like to do this. And with earrings, it's even simpler because there's nothing in the way, right? There's no pin in the way. So again, we're just going to put a very tiny amount right on the wire. And this is something that it's a very tiny step, but it's really good to finish with gluing with super new glue, because it makes all the little legs stationary. It's going to keep them from moving. And should they bend, say, you wear it and maybe you throw it in a pile of jewelry like I usually do, and maybe the legs get bent a little bit out of shape, no worries. The fact that it is glued, and all of my earrings are glued, all of my spider earrings, that is, are glued. The fact that it's glued, it only prevents it from, you see how it's not moving around the central wire, but you can still reposition and reshape the legs. So I think it's a nice thing to do.
Clarice says it's a perfect gift for Halloween and a birthday.
Oh, yay! Thank you so much, Clarice. Well, a birthday gift, maybe for somebody whose birthday is around Halloween, or perhaps they really like spiders. Okay, guys, so that's it. We just finished. And oh yes, I would love to thank Cheryl Lynn. I don't know if you're watching, but you shared our tutorial, and I believe from last week, and that is, or this week, that right? This week or last week?
It was one of the spider.
But anyway, it was one of the spider tutorials. Thank you so much, Cheryl, or Cheryl Lynn rather, for sharing. And it's always appreciated. If you guys have beading friends who would like to do whatever it is that we do on Thursdays, if you feel somebody else would enjoy it, please do share my tutorials. Please invite your friends to watch. As far as I'm concerned, the more the merrier. We will have a party. Okay, so I think these are dry actually, so I don't think I need my little piece of paper anymore. And now we are just going to lay out all of our little spider friends. And then I will tell you what's coming up tomorrow and next week. So
Lori says, I just sprinkled your live.
oh, thank you so much, Lori. It's really appreciated. Okay, guys. So again, let me tell you. So this, obviously, there's only one pin, so you can't, or one pin kit, I should say, or brooch kit. So you can't mistake it for anything else. And it's the Gothic Spider pins. And then, so everything is already in the Etsy shop. And then we have two options of color in the Sugar Skull spiders, and those are Gothic Raspberry and silver,
Platinum gold.
I don't know, some type of metal, platinum gold. And then we also have the Gothic spider earrings, and of course all the other spider earrings. And we did sell out of a couple. I want you guys to know we did sell out of a couple from last week, but we have already been able to restock them. So that's the good news. And so now that we're finished with our project, let me give you a little preview of everything that is coming up. So tomorrow I have a very, very exciting trunk show. This is part of our live shopping event. So this is going to be for Friday, October 11th on the Eclectica Beads Facebook page, where I normally do the Friday events. Just about every Friday we do a really fun, I think of them as kind of like a Friday morning marketplace. We call them shopping events, and this features some absolutely beautiful Baltic amber necklaces, pendants, earrings, and so much more. And yes, if you're wondering, I will have a few assortments as well. They're not amber, but they're kind of like in those amber tones. So this is a trunk show, and so you'll learn so much more about the trunk show if and when you join me. But just to tell you a little bit, just to intrigue you, so we will have Baltic amber in various shapes. That is made, I believe, in Lithuania. But also we have a lot of pieces by a local artist who works with Baltic amber. And so his pieces are really quite unusual. And it should be a pretty fun event. And then, but wait, there's more. So then we also have Halloween in Bloom bracelet trio for next Thursday, October 17th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on my jewelry design page. Oh, you know what? I do have one more amber piece right here, and this is a brooch. So here, let me show you. How beautiful is that? Amber is so pretty. It's just like, it's like sunshine trapped in a stone. And so let me show you my bracelet trio. This is the Halloween in Bloom. And so it's kind of like, definitely technique-wise, this is very much back to basics. And it's nice to review the basics occasionally. But that's not why I did it. I did it because, you know, in the spirit of Halloween, I just wanted something that's a little, you know, non-scary at all, and maybe uses flowers. And so here it is.
The middle one looks like it has little bats.
Bats?
Yeah, the Swarovski bead looks like a little bat.
You know what they do? I think normally they wouldn't, but within the context of Halloween, yeah, they kind of do look like little bats.
Clarice says, we have a lot of witches born on Halloween, like my friend.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. She's a witch. That's pretty awesome. I'm a witch every Halloween. Well, not every Halloween. Sometimes I think I have 2 witches hats. So, you know, that's sort of my little nod to Halloween. If I dress up, it's either I wear my witch's hat or I wear my cat ears. All right, ladies. So, this is it. I believe we covered it all. And thank you so much for watching. You know where to find me tomorrow on the Eclectica Facebook page. So please do join me for the Baltic Amber event. It'll be a lot of fun. And in the meantime, have a wonderful, oh, no, Tony said we have more comments, so please do.
Kim K says, thanks so much for sharing all of your cute and sparkly spiders. I'll have to watch the live sale video on replay because of work. Have a wonderful weekend. Althea says, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. It's so appreciated. I love, doing this every Thursday. I love your comments, and it just makes me happy. So I hope you guys had fun. And again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all of your wonderful comments. And thanks for putting up with these scary spiders. I know not everybody's into that, but these guys, they're friendly. They're very, very friendly. Okay, and again, have a wonderful evening. I will see you tomorrow.